How do you recover your relationship if you spanked your child and now you realize maybe that wasn't the best thing? The most important thing is to acknowledge the pain and the suffering you might have caused, even if it was unknowingly. So if you know that you have harmed your child, maybe you've been angry, maybe you used to have a rage disorder, or whenever you talked to them, you were very critical and harsh. Maybe you said things that emotionally harmed them or psychologically harmed them. And now you want to have a different type of experience with them. Now you realize maybe you carried this over. Maybe this was done to you. And it's just something you didn't know that you shouldn't be doing until after you did it. And now you realize the harm it caused. There's actually a very important thing you can do to recover that relationship. And I very much encourage you to do that. No matter how much courage it takes, this can make all the difference to that child's inner landscape and how this child turns out. Apologies, acknowledgement. It's important that you acknowledge the pain and the suffering you've caused. If you spanked your child, or you've hurt your child, or you've screamed at them, or raged at them, or caused them any level of fear of you, then it's really important that you come to that child on a day when everything is calm, and you sit them down in privacy, and you tell them what you've come to realize. It can sound something like this. When I was growing up, I went through these types of experiences with my family. I was spanked, I was yelled at, I was put in timeouts, I was abandoned for long periods of time. Whatever it is that you went through that you feel you have carried over into this relationship with your own children, acknowledge that. Acknowledge how that made you feel. Acknowledge that you've processed that from an empathic lens. This will help the child to understand that you're coming from a place of feeling. You're not coming from a place of authority. You're coming from a place that is now trying to say, I understand how I made you feel. Even though it wasn't my intention to hurt you in this way, I know that I did. And I really want to make that right. I really want to take ownership of that. I really wanted to let you know that I'm so sorry. But I promise you that now that I've thought about it, and I really processed that I was frustrated and I was losing my cool and that I didn't have the tools that I needed as a young parent. Now I understand what I was missing, and I want to be better for you. And I want to make an apology to you for any harm that I've caused. I want to restore our relationship, and I want you to know that I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful you're in my life. I find you the most interesting and wonderful person. It's important to give them back their self-worth. That's what spanking and rage and punishments take from a child. So when you're recovering and apologizing to them, it's important that you give them back their self-worth and you help them understand how truly special they are, and that all those things that happened in the past don't ever have to happen again between the two of you, because now you're really developing yourself in a way that you can be safe and know exactly how to love them in the way that honors the relationship. I know that for a lot of parents, this is difficult. There's a fear for people that if they own something, it will be used against them. But rarely does that happen. And typically, if it does happen, it's because the child is testing you to see whether or not you're really who you think you are in this new change. It's okay to allow for that testing. It's okay to allow for the child to express his anger or her anger or rage. It's okay, because the more truth that gets expressed between the two of you in a healthy way, meaning you might be in a humble position and that child might come at you with all the pain and the anger and how you made them feel. And if you stay in that peaceful, loving place where you're receiving that information and their truth in a loving way, you will have passed the test. Now, they may determine to test you over time, because you might show up as different people in front of different people or in different circumstances. Maybe you had a drinking problem and you switched into a totally different part of yourself when you're drinking. So they might test you in different situations to see what's true. And that's okay. That's human nature. This is actually part of our survival tool set. When you see that, that's a positive thing. What you should be seeing is that this child has something intact that will help them survive. And it's not an attack on you. It's more of a need to know what's really true. And eventually they will stop the testing once they see the consistency. So it's important to recover with one another. And no matter how long it takes, the benefits will come to the both of you. And in fact, will spill out into the rest of the family and the rest of the children that are going to come into that family. When you're a parent who's made mistakes, it's not easy to figure out how to learn to live with yourself. But if you recover with your children and you make apologies and you truly, truly change how you're treating them, how you're actually considering them, then anything is possible. All the most beautiful relationships can be restored. If you have a terrible relationship with your children because you haven't honored them, I promise you, this way of honoring the truth and actually emotionally processing how you made them feel and being present with that can be the healing elixir and the foundation that you can start a new life with them with.